Friedrich Nietzsche, a German philosopher that once famously quoted, "I know of no better life purpose than to perish in attempting the great and impossible." The fact that something seems impossible shouldn't be a reason not to pursue it. In fact, that's what makes it worth pursuing. Where would the courage and greatness be if success was certain and there was no risk? Ambidexterity. Ambidexterity is defined as the ability to use the right and left hand equally well. I've always considered ambidexterity to be a God-gifted talent, like it's something you are born with, like that insane muscle-mind coordination is something only fortunate possess. But turns out it's far from the truth. Our brains can adapt themselves, develop new neural pathways, and quite literally change its own tangible shape and size. All that is done by a process called neuroplasticity. This exact ability of our mind allows adults to comprehend and learn languages, to manage short and long term memory, and it helps to recognize patterns. And this exact ability will allow me, with consistent practice and concentration, to become an ambidextrous person. For the past 18 years of my life, I've been a left hand dominant person, and I write quite weirdly. Yes. And as much as I enjoy seeing the feeling of confusion on people's face when they first see me write, it also kind of bugs me. So I finally decided to break this chain of old confused looks on new and unfamiliar people by teaching myself how to write with my non-dominant hand. I went on to do some research and watch tutorials on how to train like an ambidextrous, because I didn't want to just sit down and write stuff on paper with my right hand, just hoping that I would get better over time. Upon countless research and hours of tutorials, I found that the training boils down to 3 key steps, 3 key exercises that, if done correctly, can prove to be very helpful in this journey. And the exercises that I found are: number 1, mindful exercise; number 2, deliberate exercise; and lastly, number 3, lifestyle changes. I know it sounds a bit simplified, but that's all there is to it. Hey, since the research is completed, there's nothing left for us to do but to apply the things that we have learned. And along the way, I will share with you some facts and fragments about ambidexterity. And so this is day 1, hour 0 of our ambidexterity training. Since we are in the beginning of this journey, I am thinking that 3 pages a day of writing should be enough to warm the muscles up. Or so I thought it would. You see, theory will only take you so far, to quote Dr. Robert Oppenheimer here, but it's true, and soon you'll find out why. Alright, so I'm done with my task and I've written 3 pages. And here's what I ended up with. Now, obviously, it looks awful, but you can't expect much out of the first day. But, okay, so the clip you just saw was recorded 4 days ago. And what did I do in that time? Well, I made some progress. 1 second, let me show you. Oh, I think I forgot to render it in. It seems like it's gonna take a while. But in the meantime, let me introduce you to some people. Hello and welcome to the Terrace. Now, the concept of ambidexterity is not a very well known subject. Not a lot of people knew about it. But ambidexterity as a whole is a pretty nuanced subject. There is a lot going on behind the scene when we take into account the complexity involved in operating both the hands simultaneously. So, me, with my fellow colleagues here, would like to shed some light on this subject. Having an ability to write with both hands can offer several advantages. Although it is relatively rare, there are some potential benefits. These benefits may include increased brain function, enhanced adaptability and general versatility, enhanced creativity and increased motor skills like good hand-eye coordination and lowered reaction time. Other than that, it can also offer a competitive edge over other people with enhanced handwriting, and it also has some cultural and historical importance. Even though the benefits may sound appealing, it is important to note that true ambidexterity is relatively rare. Only a few people are born pre-equipped with such skills. Most people have a dominant hand that is more skilled and precise than the other one. On the other hand, attaining ambidexterity usually requires dedicated practice and patience. And even though there are potential benefits, it is not necessary for everyone to achieve full ambidexterity in order to lead a happy and successful life. Becoming a fully ambidextrous person requires rigorous training that involves practicing writing, drawing, and performing other tasks with non-dominant hand. Furthermore, genetic factors may also come into play when we consider the hand preference and the time required to attain ambidexterity. One of the most notable traits is mirror writing, wherein some ambidextrous individuals have the ability to write in mirror image, meaning they write text which appear to be reversed but is legible when viewed under a mirror. This tactic is been used by many famous people like Leonardo da Vinci as a form of code writing. Now, in conclusion, ambidexterity is a fascinating ability that can offer various advantages over a multitude of challenges. And I think everyone should develop some degree of ambidexterity as it can improve coordination and adaptability in everyday activities and potentially provide an advantage in a specific context. But here's the thing. Come here. I'm becoming ambidextrous coming from a left hand dominant perspective. And research has shown that left hand dominant people have a plethora of disadvantages like shorter lifespan, increased risk of conditions like schizophrenia, insomnia, along with chronic brain diseases and higher chances of alcohol addiction. And the worst thing of all is that even if I manage to attain true ambidexterity, it doesn't change the fact that I was a left hand dominant person to begin with. And the disadvantages that come with being a left hand dominant person will still prevail even if I attain true ambidexterity. My whole objective with becoming ambidextrous was that I can relinquish myself from the curses that my past has frowned upon me. But hearing this, what can I do now? Realizing all of this, I'm reminded of a famous poem by Viola Gray about the inescapable past, and it goes something like this. In the shadows of the inescapable past, memories linger, haunting steadfast. A tapestry of moments woven tight, an endless reel throughout day and night. Mistakes and triumph intertwined, a timeless dance within the mind. Regrets may whisper like a ghost, but lessons learned, we hold them close. In the inescapable past's embrace, we find the roots of our future's grace. For what we were has shaped our core, and from those roots we will grow once more. Though yesterday's echoes may persist, the future's canvas we still insist to paint anew with colors vast, a life unburdened by the inescapable past. As humans, we like to think that everything we do, everything we think about, everything we indulge ourselves in has an ultimate purpose behind it, that it leads to some ultimate destiny. But I think we often fail to realize the bigger picture. We clean our houses every day just for them to end up dirty again the next one. We clean it again and the same thing happens the day after that. So what's the meaning in doing so in the first place? Why bother if it's eternally destined to wind up in the same state it was in the past? And not only house cleaning, but humans perform a multitude of tasks every day that seem to have no ending, no definitive feedback on progress, just a momentary bliss that quickly runs out in a few hours. It's like we're impersonating Sisyphus, rolling boulders up a hill just for it to roll back down again. I guess my situation is quite similar to this. Writing every day with my opposite hand, just ignoring the realization that doing so will prove to be of no apparent good reason. I noticed that we're exceptionally good at feeding false narratives to our brains to cope with the absurdity of such realizations. I guess I can also do the same. I guess I can also feed myself false narratives just like millions of us do. When we pick up our brooms in the morning to clean, just like Sisyphus does when he struggles while rolling the boulder up that hill. I can also feed myself false sense of direction when I pick up that pen to write 3 pages every day. Because at the end of the day, no matter how many mundane, mindless and repetitive tasks occupy our lives, most of us seem to find a way to be happy and content. Just like the cleaner finds solace in the sense of cleanliness he or she gets after the work is over, just like Sisyphus finds solace in the momentary sigh that comes when he watches that boulder fall down that hill, I too will find solace in the fact that someday I'll be able to tell the world that I can write with both of my hands. Maybe my perception will change then. Maybe I don't know. Well, it's been 12 days since I started this training, and a lot has changed since then. A lot has improved. I can definitely notice that it takes less efforts for me to write out sentences, paragraphs, and pages that are partially legible and sometimes even similar to my left hand's handwriting. Although I sometimes face difficulty in writing out alphabets that have highly curved structure like the letters E, G, N, and Y. But I think it's only a matter of time before they too will get perfected. All that stuff aside, it's important to note that writing alone won't make me an ambidextrous. As I described, it's a pretty big deal, and it takes a lot of patience and perseverance to achieve something like that. There are many other aspects other than writing that are involved in this training. I now perform all my hand-dominant activities with my right hand. Tasks such as eating, opening doors, holding cups, brushing teeth, drawing, and it can be as little as putting the right leg first while walking instead of the left. All these help build a stronger muscle-mind connection that helps out a lot in perfecting ambidexterity. Yet there is one last thing that I do to maximize results. The third and final step of the 3 key exercises. I know it's a bit peculiar and not very well understood by the masses, but I do it regardless. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is visualization. A meditative act of imagining visual images and mental scenarios. Manual daydreaming, if you will. And to best explain this concept, there is no other better way than visual. Imagine an ideal version of yourself stranded inside an imaginary scenario. The ideal version of myself is my future self. A version of me that has achieved true ambidexterity and is now fully capable of using his right hand as well as he would his left. A version of me that has gone through the months of tedious practice that I am currently going through and has nailed every single aspect of it. Now, how long it took for me to achieve it, or if I ever achieve it in the first place, is a topic of a totally different discussion. But since it's my imagination, let's suppose at some point in time I did achieve ambidexterity. And the sole purpose of this visualization is for one to embrace that reality, to feel it, to experience it, to get oneself familiar with it. And it's perfectly acceptable if it sounds a bit over the top. But just bear with me for a second. Now, if what I am visualizing does become a reality at some point in time, here's what it would look like. This is me in my imaginary future, where I attain true ambidexterity and master the ability of writing and doing almost anything with my writing. This is absolutely beautiful. I didn't expect this at all. Such level of sophistication and symmetry in each alphabet. It's honestly really hard to believe that sometime in future I may be able to write like this. Wait a minute. I also practice drawing, right? I need to check that out too. Here it is. I think it's the drawing book. These are not bad at all. Alright, let's put this stuff where it previously was and get out of here. Now, I think with this all, you get the idea about how visualization works. And with that marking the end of this explanation, it's time for me to wake up from this meditative dream and get back to work. I've explained to you all the 3 key exercises, and now it's time to put them in practice. Alright, guys, I need your attention here for a second. I need you to test my progress. I have written a sentence 10 times in this notebook, 9 of which are written with my left hand, and 1 is written with my right hand. What I need you to do is simple. Identify the one I've written with my right hand, and the job is over. If you win, I have to go back to training again. So let's begin. Take a careful look at these sentences and tell me which one I've written with my right hand. Third one looks odd. I think it's the third one, definitely. I'm gonna go with 3. I think it's 6.
I feel like I'll go with
Yes,
six.
yeah, it's definitely 6.
Every pixel, every sample is an example, is an attempt. Every inch of your body to preserve it in the present. How idiotic are we to believe we can do that shit? R, G, B, E, E, U, beautiful thing. R, G, B, E, E, U, beautiful thing. Every day that goes by is further than before. We'll take 2 flights, a ton of
Okay, guys, one more time. Pick out the odd one.
nothing compared to how you've changed. People part like
Really? You sticking with 7? You think 7 is the answer?
7 wasn't the correct answer, but they went with it nonetheless. I was so happy that I won. I was happy that the months of practice that I put in had finally paid off. I was happy that there was no difference between my left hand's handwriting and my right one. I was happy that I finally achieved it. Not true, but partial ambidexterity.
Just to be clear, to be sure that I'm on the same page, we said the incorrect answer so that you will stop bothering us, right? Yes, definitely. The correct answer is 2nd, everybody knows that. What? You knew the answers? Why did you tell me?
What's with the distance, you may be wondering? Well, keep wondering. This project, I think it's safe to say, has been a testament of my ability to not veer off when faced with discomfort. You know, I persisted a lot with this project, struggled a lot with it. Lots of fears have been battled during this period. Fear of acting in front of a camera, fear of speaking in front of a microphone, fear of acting in front of a camera while speaking in front of a microphone, fear of the judgment you get when you ask the guy at the Xerox machine to print out a high quality print of a photo of you staring at the camera in a weird way because you randomly decided in the middle of a Tuesday shower that would be a cool idea to make a paper transition. These are struggles, just to name a few, but I definitely have grown a lot from these fears. I definitely have learned a lot from them. Now, I want you to take a guess on how long it took for me to make something like this. Go ahead, take your time. You done? Alright. It took me more than 100 days to complete this documentary. Not because it's a 100+ day documentary, but because I procrastinated a lot throughout. But I'm happy that it's over and I'm content with the way it turned out. I know that it's not perfect and I definitely could have addressed some of the shortcomings in this video. But for my first time ever making something like this, I think we can let it slide. In the end, I hope you enjoyed this journey of ambidexterity with me, and even if you didn't, I thank you for watching. For me, the significance of this video lies not in whether it is good or not, or whether people like it or not, but the lessons that I learned throughout it. And with that, I think it's time for us to part ways. I don't know if I'll ever make something like this in future, but if I do, we'll meet again here. And if I don't, it's goodbye. I hope you enjoyed this documentary and I thank you for watching. Bye.